Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters of destiny, lend me your minds and open the ears of your spirit, because I did not come here to entertain your emotions. I came to awaken your soul. I did not come with poetry. I came with prophecy. And the words I speak today are not born from intellect, but from a place where pain met purpose, and where brokenness became birth. We live in a world where men are quick to trust systems and slow to trust God. We live in an age where people panic when the map ends, forgetting that God does his best work where maps fail. But hear me, when men say there is no way, God begins to make one. When everything around you begins to collapse, when the people you trusted turn silent, when the light at the end of the tunnel fades into more darkness, you begin to wonder, is there really a way out? Is there truly a reason to keep going? But I came to tell you that it is in those very moments when you are down to nothing that God is up to something. You see, most people believe that divine intervention comes in the form of lightning, earthquakes, or voices from the sky. But the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. God makes a way in stillness, in struggle, in silence. Let us be real. Life doesn't always make sense. There are times you work harder than ever before and end up with nothing. You pray with a pure heart, and still your tears hit the floor unanswered. You give your all to people, and they walk away as if your loyalty was dust. But here is the mystery. God does not reveal his plan at the beginning, because faith is not forged in clarity, it is built in chaos. When you don't see the next step and you take it anyway, that is when heaven moves. That is when paths begin to form where there were none. That is when doors swing open that weren't even there before. Do not confuse delay with denial. Many of you are walking through seasons that feel like closed chapters, but God is not closing the book. He is flipping the page, and that page might be dark, it might be empty, it might even scare you. But the ink has already been written. He has already gone before you. He has already paved the road you cannot see. So the question is not whether there is a way. The question is whether you have the faith to keep walking. Look around this world and you'll see men who trusted their money only to lose it. You'll find women who trusted relationships only to be betrayed. But those who trusted God, even when it didn't make sense, those are the ones who found peace in pain, strength in weakness, and victory in the midst of utter defeat. You see, man needs to see the path before walking it. But those who walk with God know that sometimes the path appears only when your foot hits the ground. Every great story in history began with a man or woman at the end of themselves. The Red Sea did not part until Moses stepped forward. The fire did not fall until Elijah called. The walls did not collapse until Joshua marched. And your breakthrough will not come until you stop trying to be your own God and allow God to be God over your chaos. There is no miracle without a mess. There is no testimony without the test. There is no divine intervention without a human impossibility. So if you are standing today in the middle of confusion, I say congratulations. Because you are standing at the perfect address for divine intervention. You are standing on the edge of a supernatural turning point. And while people may be looking at you wondering how you will survive, I say to you, don't survive, rise. Don't look back at the pain that built you, look forward to the purpose it revealed. Because if God allowed it, it is not the end of your story. It is the preparation for something greater than you imagine. But you must understand, God does not make a way for the idle, he makes a way for the faithful. You cannot sit in the valley of despair and expect elevation. You must rise, you must believe, you must press forward even when everything tells you to sit still. Because that is how the way appears, not in fear, not in doubt, not in waiting for signs, but in walking by faith when logic has failed and when friends have fled. And hear this, when the way is made, it will not make sense to others. When God lifts you, they will say it was luck. When he provides for you, they will call it coincidence, but you will know it was the hand of God. You will know that when they said it was over, he said it was just beginning. You will know that when the enemy thought he buried you, he had only planted a seed, and now it is your season to rise, because God is not done with you yet. Sometimes life feels like you are standing at a dead end. with no map, no signs, no direction. You look to the left and there is a wall. You look to the right and there is rejection. You look behind and all you see is regret. And in front of you, nothing but silence, no door, no bridge, just stillness. And in that moment, your heart begins to whisper, maybe this is the end. But I came to declare to you today that the absence of visible direction is not the absence of divine direction. It is simply the invisible hand of God preparing an unthinkable way. Many people believe that when life becomes silent, God has left. But that is a lie from the pit of fear. God is not absent in your quiet season. He is present in a way so powerful, so deep, so sacred, that the enemy cannot hear it. You may not see the way, but God is constructing a path beneath your pain, behind the scenes, beyond your logic. And the reason you cannot see it is because it is not being made by human hands. It is being made by holy authority. You must understand that what looks like the end to man is often just the beginning in the eyes of God. When Joseph was thrown in the pit, men thought it was over. When he was imprisoned, they counted him out. But what they didn't see was that every dark place was a divine staircase to the palace. And so it is with you, that disappointment a setup, that closed door a reroute, that betrayal a redirection. And though it feels like rejection, it is God's protection, because if you walked into rooms not assigned to your purpose, you would be destroyed by what was never meant for you. And so I ask you, do you have the strength to walk even when the road is hidden? Can you trust God when your bank account is dry, your friends are gone, your health is fragile, and your spirit is tired? Because faith is not proven in comfort. It is revealed in the fire, and when your world is shaking, that is when you find out what your foundation is made of. If it is built on people, it will collapse. If it is built on titles, it will fade. If it is built on emotions, it will shift. But if it is built on faith in God's power to make a way, it will stand through every storm. And some of you right now, you are tired of pretending to be strong. You smile in public but cry in private. You motivate others while drowning silently. You post success but feel broken inside, and you wonder, where is God? Let me tell you, He is not just near. He is working, but He is not working the way you expect. He is not building you a road in the open, because that would make you dependent on what you see. Instead, He is developing your discernment, your patience, your obedience, your endurance, and once those are fully grown, He will make a way so undeniable that no man can take credit for it. You see, if man opened the door, man could close it, but when God opens it, even the gates of hell cannot shut it. That is why your way is taking time, because it's not just about the destination. It's about your transformation. You are not just going to the promise, you are becoming the person who can carry it without breaking. So do not despise the waiting season. That silence is pregnant with a breakthrough. That darkness is nurturing the light. That delay is your classroom. And when the time is right, the doors will open with such favor, such clarity, such force, that everyone who once doubted you will be silent. I need you to hear this clearly. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because you feel lost doesn't mean you are forgotten. And just because it looks like there is no way doesn't mean there isn't one. Because God is not limited by man's logic. He is not bound by earthly timelines. He doesn't need permission from your enemies to bless you. When He speaks, creation obeys. When He moves, nature shifts. When He decides, it is final. There comes a moment in life where the door doesn't just seem closed. It feels like the entire hallway has vanished. You pray and all you get is silence. You try and all you meet is resistance. You cry out and no echo returns, and the heart begins to sink. But I came to awaken your spirit and remind you of a powerful truth. When everything is quiet and when the world has turned its back on you, God is closest in the shadows. His silence is not His absence. His delay is not His denial. His stillness is not His negligence. No, it is in those moments, those very moments when you feel the most abandoned, that God is aligning what eyes cannot see. Too many of us expect the breakthrough to come with noise and applause. We expect the miracle to come with thunder and lightning, but the greatest works of God often come in silence, in obscurity, in mystery. God hides His greatest movements so the enemy cannot intercept them. And so when your life looks like it's falling apart, it may just be falling into alignment. What if what you call a setback is God's setup? What if the things you lost were never meant to stay? What if that rejection saved you from destruction? What if the delay preserved you from disaster? We must learn to trust the unseen strategy of God. Because what is hidden from man is not hidden from heaven. Behind every closed door, beyond every sleepless night, beneath every heartbreak, God is still writing the script, orchestrating events, arranging divine connections, tearing down what must be torn, and building what must endure. You see, when God makes a way, it doesn't always look like a road. Sometimes it looks like a wilderness, but even in the wilderness He provides. Even in the fire He preserves. Even in the valley He walks beside you with authority. And that is why you must not be discouraged when the process feels longer than expected. That is why you must hold the line when the pressure increases, because there are things inside you that God must burn out before He lifts you up. There are weights you must release. There are people you must let go. There are habits you must break. There are wounds you must heal. And in that painful process, it may feel like God has forgotten you, but in truth, He is preparing you so you do not sabotage the blessing He is about to release. Consider how gold is refined. It is not made pure by gentle touches. It is made pure in the furnace. The heat rises, the pressure intensifies, the impurities rise to the surface, and only then does the refiner see his reflection in the gold. That is what God is doing in your life. That pain, refining, that delay, refining, that isolation, refining, and when He sees His image in your response, your next chapter begins, not by your might, not by your strength, but by His divine appointment. You must also recognize that the enemy fears your breakthrough. That is why your opposition has increased. That is why your mind is under attack. That is why your sleep is restless, your thoughts are heavy, and your peace feels stolen. Because the enemy knows what you carry. He knows the assignment on your life. He knows the purpose burning in your bones. And if he can convince you to give up now, he wins. But I came to declare, you will not break, you will not bow, and you will not back down. Because the same God who started this work in you is faithful to complete it. So if you feel surrounded, don't panic. If you feel forgotten, don't retreat. If you feel stuck, don't give up. You are not buried, you are planted. And just like the seed beneath the soil, you are about to rise at the appointed time. The darkness does not mean death, it means development. And when the season shifts, when the rain comes, when the soil breaks, you will rise, not as you were, but as who you were destined to be all along. You must understand that delay is not denial, and the silence of God is never the absence of God, for in the stillness of your waiting, God is working on your behalf in dimensions your mind cannot yet grasp, because what God is building for you is not cheap. It is not rushed. It is not ordinary. It is divine, and divine things require divine timing. Many give up at the edge of breakthrough. Many surrender when the pressure builds, because we have been conditioned to think that if something isn't happening instantly, then it must not be meant for us. But I am here to declare that some of the greatest things God will ever do in your life will take time, and in that time He is preparing you to carry the weight of what you have prayed for. Because it is easy to shout for elevation, but are you ready for the pressure that comes with the promotion? This is why God often hides you before He reveals you. Before He takes you to the place of destiny, He must first break everything in you that would destroy that destiny. That pain that you are feeling is not punishment, it is preparation. That closed door was not rejection, it was redirection. That betrayal was not a curse, it was a necessary separation for divine alignment. And when God separates you, don't go chasing what He has removed. Sometimes God subtracts before He multiplies, and what He removes may have been blocking what He intended to release. We are in a generation that wants glory without process, crowns without crosses, thrones without thorns, but let me tell you, there is no greatness without groaning, no elevation without endurance, no triumph without a test. God will often take you through the fire not to burn you, but to refine you. It is in the heat of affliction that your character is forged, your faith is purified, and your heart is aligned with heaven's agenda. And you must stop measuring God's favor by comfort, because favor is not comfort. Favor is the grace to endure the discomfort while still walking in obedience. Favor does not always look like luxury. Sometimes it looks like wilderness, but even in the wilderness, God rains manna. Even in the desert, water will flow from the rock, because when God sends you into hard places, He supplies you with divine provision. There is someone listening who feels like their prayers are unanswered, who feels forgotten, who feels invisible, and I want to remind you that God sees what others ignore. Your tears have not gone unnoticed. Your faithfulness in private has not been in vain. What you do in silence, God rewards in the open. So do not grow weary, do not lose heart. The delay is stretching your capacity, the process is deepening your foundation, and when the release comes, it will be so profound that you will understand why God made you wait. Some of you are asking God to open a door, but He's building a whole house. And you're frustrated because you only prayed for a key, not knowing He's designing an entire structure to contain the magnitude of the blessing. When God makes a way, it is not a temporary escape, it is an eternal establishment. He does not open doors to impress you, He opens them to plant you where you can bear fruit that lasts. And the fruit God desires is not fame, it is not likes, it is not applause. It is impact, it is legacy, it is transformation. So stop comparing your journey to others. Stop measuring your progress by social timelines. What God is doing in you is tailor-made, custom, crafted, designed with your future, your family, your calling in mind. And just because you're not there yet doesn't mean God is done. God finishes everything He starts. He is not a God of abandonment. He is a God of completion.